One thing that head coach Bobby Hauck has emphasized is how tough it is to beat a team twice in a season. 2 times they've lost to a team in the regular season only to beat them in the playoffs since 2000. On the flip side, they've had 3 instances where they've beaten a team in the regular season only to lose to them in the playoffs. It is the 25th anniversary of the last time that a Missoula AA school was in the state championship game, and it was a battle of 2 of them. That's right, it was the battle of the 2 that we're going to see tonight. We're going to get a rematch of that 1994 AA state championship game. I think this is exactly where the playoff committee didn't want to be. The big question is, how will these California rules stack up against these NCAA regulations? Well, the NCAA already released a statement saying that California's rules don't adhere to the NCAA. We've had almost one upset today, and we're really close to another. There's 45 seconds left in this Corvallis versus Hamilton women's game. The score is tied. Scratch that. Hamilton just went up by a free throw. If that rain does show up a little bit later, ball handling is going to become crucial in this game, not just in the passing game, but both of these teams like to run some RPOs, run pass options, for those of you who don't know. We can all debate just how great he was on the court, but there's no debate that he was one of the greatest competitors we've ever seen. But to truly understand the impact that Kobe had, you have to go even beyond the basketball court. Within a year of his retirement, he had started a TV series on ESPN, published a book, established a business, and won an Oscar for Best Short Animated Film, Dear Basketball. It was all part of the Mamba mentality, the belief that no matter the odds against you, the beliefs of everyone surrounding you, or any obstacles in your path, you will succeed. It's the belief that sparked a generation of love for the game of basketball, created way too many moments to count, from his historic 81 points to swishing free throws with a torn Achilles to scoring 60 in his final game, and will forever spark the imagination of school kids around the world who, every time they crumple a piece of paper and toss it towards a trash can, they will always shout one word: Kobe. A day that will live in infamy in the history of the NBA, the day we lost the Black Mamba. He was 41 years old. Since 1999, the Osprey have graced Ogren Park every summer until this next one. In 2020, it'll be the Missoula Paddleheads taking the field. After hundreds of submissions from the community over the past year, the team decided to go with the alternate name for a moose. The club feels the new name represents a lot of Missoula's culture, with references to both the M and the peace sign in alternate logos, but they weren't always set on the Paddleheads.
It's Friday morning, March 8th, and we're on a conference call going through our list of final 6 names, and we're actually talking about the Paddleheads, and we're saying, hey, this feels good. This feels like our name. And then all of a sudden our phones all lit up, and there was like this, it was a wildlife version of an Amber Alert, where everybody was getting warned by law enforcement that there was a moose loose in Missoula. At that particular moment, we took that as a sign, and we made Paddleheads the name from that moment on.
Do you like the new name? As of 9 o'clock tonight, we'd received 1,500 votes, and 87% are against the Paddleheads, but that poll runs for another week. But it's not just the resounding no in our poll, it's how adamantly some of you are against the Paddleheads. Bella Demony says 4 thumbs down. Philip Peck says it's a sad day for Zootown baseball. A comment we saw quite a lot of: a swing and a miss. Brian Edmonds asked if the Osprey now has to go, and that was a point of emphasis for management. No, the Osprey will still be used as a throwback logo, similar to how the Timberjacks have been used in the past, and the Osprey nest can still be seen year-round at the ballpark. The power of sports is the ability to bring 2 people or 2 families together from different walks of life, and it can be from something as simple as a piece of headwear. Thousands of people come together here on Saturdays in the fall, and for a few hours, they become family. Steve Wall has a permanent spot in the north end zone.
I started watching the Grizz, Bobcat Grizz game is where I really got involved, back when Rocky Cleaver, Guy Bingham, those guys were playing.
But he never thought a hat left at Big Fork High would change his Saturdays forever.
I noticed this Grizz hat sitting over by the doors as you go into the gymnasium. I thought, man, that's a good looking hat. I looked at it and I picked it up, and when I picked it up, I saw a note, and the note looked like a little 3rd grade kid had wrote a little heart on it, like a little love note. The note was paper clipped to the side of the brim of the hat. And when I took those paper clips off and I took the note, and the first thing I read was, "This hat is not lost."
But the man who wore it is gone. Clint Collins grew up in Big Fork. He loved the Grizz, and for 3 decades had seats to every game, just opposite of Steve.
He would get a new Grizz hat almost every year. It was just something he had to do, you know. Till the last couple of years he didn't, because he couldn't go shopping, so he didn't trust me to pick out his hats for him, so.
Clint passed away last November while watching the Idaho game, but there was no memorial. His family had a different idea.
We decided as a family to just go into Big Fork, and we went to all the special places, you know, place he met my mom, the house he grew up in. We went and visited the high school.
It was my idea to spread out the hats, but it was my daughter, Susie's idea, to put the notes in the hats. And then it was my granddaughter, Tiffany, who decided that we should do the hashtag Clint Collins on there.
4 hats at 4 of the most important places in Clint's life. The house where he was born on Electric Avenue. The Big Fork Inn, where he met his wife. Helena Flats High School, where the gym bears his name. And the last hat at Big Fork High School.
Oh boy, I could tell it was going to be a tearjerker, you know, right from the get-go, and I was like, I'd take a little bit and to finish reading it, and then like I immediately called for Ellie, and I thought, wow, it brought back memories of my dad.
Steve's wife Ellie took the story to Facebook. Within days, the story had been shared 1,300 times.
I didn't have any idea that it was just going to go so viral. My hopes were that it would reach Susie and her family, because just as a tribute to her dad.
We never thought, you know, anything would come of this.
How many people walked by that hat, just thinking, oh, you know, whatever, and you know, if we wouldn't have picked it up, you know, I mean, who knows what if. It was a pretty neat deal, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
The perfect fit, clearly. The perfect person found it.
And maybe, if you look towards the north end zone, you'll spot Steve at the next home game, carrying a part of Clint's legacy. Steve says the hat has brought him good luck ever since he put it on, and the Collins and Wall family plan to meet up in the first week of September at the Montana Grizzlies home opener. The man you've been able to find at every Bruins home game for the past decade, making the rink feel like a home. This is Rob. He's kind of well known around these parts.
How you doing?
Well, I'm doing. That's about it.
They still allow you to get in here?
Yeah. So what do they let you in? How you doing?
For the last 12 years, you can find him right here at Bruins home games.
Here they come. Hear that thunder.
Welcoming all players and coaches, home and away.
I just wanted to come out and say hi. And
Yeah.
I won't have to press you more. You ain't gone gray yet. I haven't done a whole lot yet.
And guarding this door, making sure the players are the only ones through the gates.
You ever had someone try and get on the ice while the game's going on?
There's been some that have tried. There's been some that's been hurt they have tried. I said, you're not going to this gate. But there's been a few that have tried. They weren't too successful. So, and it's kind of the rough and tumble, slamming and jamming. That's when my hazard pay has to go up.
He took a job that was kind of created for him, and he made it a pertinent part of those hockey games now. It reminds me of the adage in drama, there are no small roles, you know, just small actors. And he took a small role and he made himself a major actor.
But it's time for Rob to turn the page. His hips hurt and his eyes are failing him.
12 years of enjoyment, now just time to let someone else younger take over.
But he'll never forget the people he met along the way.
Getting to know the team, the coaches, getting to know the other teams, and overall the public, getting to know the people here, bits and pieces from time to time, getting to know them is what has made it worth it. How you doing?
And they'll never forget Rob as he walks out those doors one last time. In Missoula, Kevin Levine, NBC Montana.
California Governor Gavin Newsom signed the most progressive bill towards paying collegiate athletes into law today. I took a deeper look at what that might mean for colleges across the country.
The roar of the crowd, an ever-present presence at Washington Grizzly Stadium each fall. Die-hard fans paying hundreds of dollars every Saturday pack the stands to watch students put their bodies on the line in exchange for an education. It's been debated about for decades. Should student athletes get paid? Well, now we're one step closer to that reality. But what does California's bill actually do for athletes? Well, for one, it doesn't force schools to pay student athletes. Rather, it makes it illegal to prevent them from using their name and likeness to earn money. Additionally, it allows collegiate athletes to sign an agent for the first time.
But the big question is, how will these California rules stack up against these NCAA regulations? Well, the NCAA already released a statement saying that California's rules don't adhere to the NCAA.
So the law says you can do that. The NCAA doesn't. So that means as soon as you do, it makes you ineligible for competition at the NCAA level, right? So at some point there has to be a happy medium that we come into.
In their statement, the NCAA says they are working towards new rules governing this topic, but each state making their own laws will make fairness impossible.
This is usually the starting spot, right? You have to go to an extreme and say, bah, and then everybody's like, oh, hold on a second, let's just meet in the middle. Perfect, right? If they didn't do that, would the NCAA ever change? No.
Supporters of the law say this is the first step, and that includes LeBron James, who hosted Governor Newsom to make the announcement. But not everyone is convinced this is the right way forward for college sports.
It'll be interesting. I think it'll probably destroy college athletics in some form or fashion.
Now, this bill doesn't take effect until 2023, so the NCAA and California have some time to work it out, but it's not just California. Florida, Washington, Colorado, Maryland, and the Carolinas have discussed similar bills. So what does this mean for Montana? Well, it's not impossible that today's freshmen could be part of the first group of paid student athletes.